Hey, I want to talk about this. I went and saw the black and white version of Godzilla Minus One. And I want to tell you, this movie is far more terrifying in black and white than it. I mean, it was already terrifying in color, but to chromatically go through the film itself and to remove the color is quite the process. But here's the thing: they put it back to what the original 1954 Godzilla looks like. That it wasn't just removing the color. They literally, in theaters, this looks like as if you were watching the, if it were made in 1954. That's the way this film looked in theater. It was amazing. Godzilla looks even more terrifying in black and white. And, like the one thing about movies like this in black and white is that when you like see Godzilla, he pops out more. Like, oh yeah, in black and white, you actually see things are kind of richer. It makes the movie pop more. Like he really pops on the screen, and everything just looks even better. And yeah, the darkness there, when the shadows and everything, it looked beautiful. I mean, I've taken movies and watched them in black and white, and this movie just reminded me of everything about 1954 that worked. I'm talking not the one where later they called Godzilla King of the Monsters, but this movie in black and white is gorgeous, first of all. Godzilla comes off more terrifying because he pops more, he stands out more in the light. And he, and you see more of the devastation than you do when it was in color. Like when you like really see more of like the destruction when he's walking through Giza and he turns that tail and he swipes through a building. It actually shows more of it. And at nighttime it makes like the shadows, so that like I've already done a review of this movie, so here's the thing: when you first see, when the movie opens, it's this gorgeous black and white, and when you first, this is another thing about it being in black and white. It's at nighttime, you hear Godzilla, and you're like, what the fuck is that? And then you see him, and it's like, then he disappears, and then only with the light from like the fire down there does he pop through. Otherwise, you really like, you're kind of like, what is that? And he's more terrifying. Like when he's the young dinosaur that he is. He for that nighttime scene in Odo, it's like more terrifying in black and white because you hear him and you're like, and then you see him and it's like the light makes him pop out more from the dark. It's like when his eye, like when he's walking around as when they find out his name's Godzilla, it's like, and he's the dinosaur. When the main character, kamikaze pilot, Shiki Shima, is in his plane and he's looking, he's frozen with fear. You see this thing and you're like, you'd be like him. Oh God, what is that? And then he turns and you see his eye, it's like, oh God, he's looking at you. I get why you'd be, yeah, like I said, this movie absolutely fucking works. More brilliant in black and white than it did in color. It was already great in color, but taking the time to remove the color and put it back to that original 1954 look, this movie was already the greatest film last year, and now that they've released it in black and white here, it's so far the greatest film this year. And Yamazaki and his team did a great, I've already talked about how great this movie is, but like I said, this black and white, there's something just like everything, the devastation around the rubble and everything pops out more in black and white. And when, like, when he gets this job dealing with these mines in the ocean, and everything seems to be going great. You're seeing he's happy. They have this montage. Beautiful score, by the way. Gorgeous score. I mean, probably one of the best. And they do bring in the original Godzilla score from I think it's the 1954 Godzilla. But the score for that the that this that is brought into this is so beautifully done that it makes the peaceful moments, work, and the points of the traumatizing stuff, like with Shika Shiki Shima, is when he's suffering having that dream, and he's suddenly back where it all started for him. Everything just it's yeah. And then when we're back with them after all the and he's had the little family thing, and reveals that they're not married, and going, why haven't you married her? Because and that's it. He says that he's not the father of the little girl. When all that happens, when he's back out on the boat, and this is after they've tested the atomic bomb. They tell you even the year when it's several months later. The U.S. has gone back testing the atomic bomb, and then you see his eye, and you hear Godzilla as the bomb hits him, and it mutates him. So you see the mutation, you hear the roar, and it even sounds more terrifying as he's mutating into the bigger version of himself. But I'll say this. When they're back out there and you see this American warship that's been destroyed, he's essentially, the first time he attacks is out of being attacked himself. Like when, going back to Oda, when we first see Godzilla as the dinosaur, the first time he attacks anything is the light. When the guy tells Taki to shine, when Tachibana tells him to turn on the light, he turns on the light, hits Godzilla, and it angers him, and he attacks, and just then they all panicking and running. He doesn't attack until, and this is why Tachibana and Shima don't get killed, because they don't attack him. He attacks only because he's being attacked. They're shooting him. He's killing everybody who attacked him. But after he's mutated, it's like everybody. He wants to kill everyone. He even attacks the military. They don't know what to do about him. The Russians are not getting involved. They're like, oh, hell no. And then we get to the point where they're back out there. And essentially, Hoda reveals that, they're out here to delay Godzilla. He reveals the name is Godzilla, and they're like, Godzilla? He goes, and because they see the ship, and he reveals, they're essentially, we're here to fight it. And he's like, we can't fight this thing. And then you see the other ship, and they don't believe him at first, and it's like, you see it come out of the water, and you're like, what the fuck? It pops more, that looks more terrifying when it's coming out of the water in black and white. And then you see the spines coming out of the water, and it's like, oh god. Like I said, black and white, this thing, Godzilla pops more and makes him more terrifying. Especially when all you see of his spines coming out of the water, and they're trying to get that boat going, made of wood, by the way. And they start going, and then you see it getting, and then you see the eyes come out of the water as they're like trying to run away in this boat away from Godzilla, and they're shooting at him and attacking him, and they take this mine, one of the mines they had, and they let it go in the water, and they blow it, it goes onto his spines on his back, and they blow it, and it doesn't do anything, and they're like, oh shit. And then Godzilla's head, like his mouth and everything, literally he opens his mouth and his head comes out of the water, he's looking at you, and you're like, oh god. It's, like I said, that scene gets more terrifying in black and white. Because, like I said, Godzilla pops more. He really does. He pops more with in the black and white daylight. That black Godzilla coming at them is much more terrifying, because you see much more of the detail of him. and you realize, oh, there is evil intent behind those eyes. And when they blow him up and he gets damaged, and it looks like, because one of the mines goes in his mouth, and they fire at him and blowing the mine up, it basically looks like they got him and he's damaged. It looks like Godzilla's down, and then all of a sudden you start to see him. This works so, it really, really lets you see more of the healing in black and white. And they're like, oh God. And when this one warship attacks him, it actually, everything pops more in black and white. And then when he lets off his breath for the first time and destroys the ship, it's like, oh shit. And you see him roar in the water, and you see some of the damage, and you're like, oh God, this is more terrifying in black and white. And then later, it's like he tells what was her name? God damn it, I keep forgetting the cast's name. It's like Godzilla -1. The cast is what I'm looking for. Here it is. You had, Noriko ask him what's going to, he tells her about what happened. He tells her it's called Godzilla. And then when he shows back up and he makes landfall in Giza, oh my God, does that come off more terrifying in black and white? Like you hear the original Godzilla score, and his walk and the damage he does pops out far more in this black and white. Holy shit. Godzilla's more terrifying in black and white than he was in color. And you see the destruction, everything's like, oh, fuck. This is, and everything about it. It's, we see the true monster that is Godzilla. It's like the original 1954. Before they called it, adding Raymond Burr and called it Godzilla King of the Monsters. And they call his breath a heat wave. But I'm going to say this, God lets that breath, when his spines from his tail, you see his tail and you see as it turns blue, and in black and white this looks, you don't see the blue, but you see how it lights up and it pushes, you see more detail of him, and you see his spines, like as it goes up the 3, push out, and they slam back in, and then you see his head more, and you see more of this, it pops out more, and he leans back, and when he lets that breath off, it's like and you see it fly out of his, and it hits, it's a bomb going off, and it actually lets more detail in that when you see after the bomb goes off, and you see as the cloud, as everything's being destroyed by the not just shockwave, it's the shockwave of air and everything, and you see so much more of the destruction of Giza in this black and white, and then you see Godzilla, it's like, he looks more, that whole thing, that mushroom cloud and everything, you see Godzilla roar, it's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, you see this, you see more, it just makes everything look more terrifying. So when we get to the final act of this final battle, it stands out even more, because Godzilla, it's like, damn, he's you see him make landfall, it's like, Jesus Christ, you thought he was terrifying in color. I say this for all honesty, this movie, Godzilla, is absolutely more menacing in black and white. I get why the 1951 film is so terrifying. Here, he's more terrifying in black and white, and it just shows, what Yamazaki and his team did took a lot of work. Most people don't realize how hard it would be to chromatically remove color. And another thing, I'm going to point this out. The cinematography by Kozo Shibasaki is beautiful. This has one of the most beautifully shot fucking films, and the black and white really lets that come out of it. And then we have the score. The music by Sato. Naoki Sato. I mean, what an amazing score to come up with for it before they bring in the even like I said, when Godzilla makes landfall and you finally see him on land, they bring out the original Godzilla score. But before that, everything else, when they're not using that original score, like in that scene on Giza, when he's walking, you first see him walking, it's like, oh, there's that original score, and then at the end of the movie, when they bring it, once their planet is enacted, and Godzilla does his breath again and destroys his ship, then we get that original score. The rest of the movie, Sato does this beautiful score for the movie, for the heartbreaking trauma moments, for the gore, like what seems like peaceful family moments that have no words in them. Just it's like you see a family coming together. They're at all these people are at the happiest point of their life until it's all fucking ruined by Godzilla. That's why it works, and it's just and you really get like the landscape and everything. Everything in this movie pops more in black and white. It really makes it's like I'll say this: if you want to know how great the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are, go and why they work so much better in black and white. Go get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Ronin comics. They're all done in black and white, and they make everything look beautiful. It's like why manga is so well received, why people love it, is because in black and white everything comes off the page more. In color's fine. You can do that with the anime and stuff, but for some reason, like this movie, classic horror movies, things pop more when there's no color. Here, like I said, the way they went about to remove the color from this movie makes it fucking work. And this man, Yamazaki, give him all the credit. He had total control over how this movie was going to be made. And he was the writer, he was the producer. I mean, he was the writer, director, he was the guy in charge of the visual effects team, and they didn't spend $15 million on this film as much as they were trying to say this. And the whole point of him putting in the government, he put that in partly because during COVID, as he explained, the government let down the people of Japan how they handled COVID. And so when the COVID situation, he had to delay the movie, gave him a chance to go back and rewrite the script, and it shows. And you can see the influences from Jaws. You see, of course, Dunkirk. There's a scene at the end of the film that will remind you of Dunkirk when, when all these fishermen came and helped the military get out of Dunkirk, France from the Nazis. You see the same thing here. And it's, but Yamazaki probably, I'm hoping he gets to do the sequel to this movie because he's talked about that he wants to do a sequel. He's not sure, and Toho's basically saying right now they have no intent to do a sequel. But yeah, I'm going to see it again tomorrow. And I saw it 3 times in color, and I've seen it. I'm going to see this movie 6 times. So 3 times in color, 3 times in black and white, and it's going to be out of theaters, but it says by the 1st, which is this next week. That's why I'm seeing it again. Yeah, I could not highly recommend. I tell people, go see this in black and white because you have the chance. If you live in Europe and stuff, sorry you didn't get this. But if you live in the U.S. and you've seen this in color and you have an opportunity to see this, you better get your ass to the theater because you can't truly say you love Godzilla Minus One if you're not going to bother to see it in black and white. This movie deserves all the, and yes, I'll say this, it's messed up that it got overlooked by the Oscars, but I'm not shocked by it. This movie is the best film of last year. It's so far the best film of this year because of the Godzilla Minus One minus color. It just stands out as one of the most beautifully shot movies, gorgeous score, great acting by everyone. And Godzilla is just more menacing in black and white. I really, really, really... Every time I see this, the movie impresses me more and more. And I could go into movies, other movies I've taken and watched in black and white that hold up. That's how you can tell you have a great movie if you could watch it in color. If it's in color and then you watch it and remove the color and watch it in black and white, if it still holds up, you know you have a great film. And I've done that with several films. But this movie, it's just like as if you were going back to 1954, the way it shows on the big screen. It's everything just beautifully comes out in black and white. Even all the characters' faces, you see more detail in black and white. You see things that you may have missed when you saw it in color. And it really, that definition on Godzilla pops out more in black and white. There are things I thought I recognized in color about Godzilla that I saw more in the black and white. Like, I forgot all about his tail. At the end of his tail, it's not like the original Godzilla. It looked more like the sort of tail that was in Shin Godzilla. It had a round end. And it was just like, holy shit, the detail in black and white. Everything really does pop in black and white. And like I say, it makes Godzilla more terrifying. And it makes everything else, like, when it's dark, and it's the darkness actually helps make this movie even more gorgeous. The fact that when it's at nighttime, the shadows really, things, like with Godzilla at the beginning, at nighttime in black and white, he is more menacing and terrifying in black and white than he is in color. But it's like the nighttime scenes actually are really more look more beautiful in the black and white, and really put you more into that period of time that this movie's supposed to take place at. At the end of World War II, you really feel like you're in Japan. Like I said, everything, the actors, there's something about like these actors in black and white where you see more detail of their characters that you didn't notice before. Everything it's the little details that pop in black and white than in color. And Godzilla really does come out in his black and white. Look at this. This is what Godzilla, and I'll tell you this, black and white of him in black and white, he's more terrifying in this black and white. Look at that detail. It comes out. Look at this detail. You see more right here in his black and white than when it's in color. It really, like, they went through the process of removing all the color. And, and there's look at this. This is what Godzilla in black and white looks like. Look at that. Look how much more terrifying this fucker looks in black and white. Look how every detail you see, every little thing. Black and white, like I said, everything pops out. Look at that. It's like, look at this. This is, he's not the tall, but look at that. Look at every bit of the detail in him. You see this that you might miss in color, but it really pops in black and white. It's like, how much more gorgeous does Godzilla look in black and white? He looks more menacing. Look how tall he looks. Look at his feet; they're huge. It's this whole idea that in color you think you get a definition of, but in black and white he just pops more. And it's like when the tanks are firing on him and then his face, he shakes through you see more of his face in black and white coming through the smoke from them shooting at him than I thought I saw in color. This guy pops more in black and white, and I think that's why it works so well. Godzilla comes off more terrifying in black and white than he ever could in color. And I've said this, a lot of movies could. Lord of the Rings would be a far better film if you did it in black and white than in color. It pops more. I love old classic movies that were filmed in black, like Phantom of the Opera. That movie pops more in black and white than it would ever do in color, and that's the same thing here. Godzilla is this right. Just look at this picture. Look at that. This is what a black and white Godzilla looks like. And then, like I said, this is the figure they're coming out with, the black and white one. Look at that. You see more detail. Look at his feet. Look at this. See more detail in his chest and everything than really you notice when he's in color. In black and white, this stuff stands out. Look at his face. Look at those eyes. Even how small that is, you can see his eyes. He looks terrifying. And then you see this side profile, and it's like, Jesus Christ, look at these feet. Yeah, look at that. You see everything in black and white over. I didn't even notice this the first one I saw it in color. I didn't notice this sticking out of his arm. And there's things, subtle details that come out in this movie in black and white than they ever did in color. And I saw Geeky Sparkles. She went and saw it with her kids, and she pointed out Godzilla's more terrifying in black and white, and she's right. He's literally comes off more menacing in black and white. And the movie is truly gorgeous in black and white. So, yeah, I recommend it. If you have the chance go see this, because after the first, it's leaving theaters here in the U.S. And if you didn't see this in theaters, and you have the chance to see it in black and white, you are absolutely stupid. And I'm not going to kid. This is the most nearly perfect, gorgeous film to see in black and white. Yeah. So this is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.